Today we are here with Jason and Elizabeth Barnes, and a couple of years ago they started a business that has grown exponentially over the past few years into a very successful printing operation. And there's a real story to be told here. And so today we're going to ask them a few questions about how the business started and some of their secrets that I hope they will reveal. So, Jason and Elizabeth, how did it all start? Tell us a little bit. And Elizabeth, how did you get involved with Jason's business, and how did you guys complement each other in running this operation and building it up?
Well, it started, this was actually back in the late 90s, back in 1997. My dad had a little newsletter that he was getting printed, and I would go to the local print shop and I would pick that up, and I would look in the back and I would see the presses running, and I thought that was kind of cool. And it just fascinated me. I guess it kind of got me interested in it. I had the opportunity to pick up a couple of pieces of old equipment, and so I got it. It wasn't much, but it was something to play with, and I just started working with it in my backyard in the storage building, and I slowly began building it into a business. And eventually, in 2006, we built this location here in a little business park, and that was when my wife and I we got married in 2007, but she came to work here. You want to mention anything?
Well, it actually started before that, because when Jason, back in 1997, when he started working with the old printing equipment, he had a friend up in the mountains that also had some very old printing equipment. That was a nonprofit ministry that I had volunteered at and worked at since I was 8 years old. So at this point, I'm 15, and he comes to learn what we knew about operating a 80 Dick press, and I got to work with him. So I like to say that I taught Jason everything he knows, which is totally not true, but it's a fun story.
It's a good joke that we like to talk about.
But fast forward several years, we were both 24, and we met at a church camp meeting, and I began to come and visit his family and would come and work in the business. Actually got him set up on QuickBooks back in 2007, I think it was, and was able to be here for the grand opening. And we got married in December of 2007. I had just graduated as a teacher, so my plan was to go back to teaching, but it was the middle of the school year. So I told him, well, I'll work with you, and as long as we don't kill each other, we'll at least work with you till next September. Well, we discovered that we absolutely loved working together, and we grew the business. We grew the business so much that we would have had to hire somebody had I gone back to teaching. So I joined full-time, more than full-time, and we've really enjoyed the journey. It's been really exciting to be able to work together.
Absolutely.
In running this business, what roles did both of you naturally take on?
I guess I would primarily be sales. I did a lot of sales in the beginning. I also did a lot of the maintenance and the running of the presses and things of that nature. Elizabeth, you were more into the graphic side of things.
When I came, I only knew the Microsoft Office products, and I was sure that you could do everything with Microsoft Word. Jason was sure that I needed to learn the Adobe products, and so he found a sales lady who would hire me to do her ads, and he said, well, you've got to do those in InDesign. So I learned InDesign by default and really enjoyed the experience. I also do a lot of the accounting and make sure the bills are paid. And I think, Jason, you're really the visionary of the business. He wants to be on the cutting edge of technology and always looking for how to grow the business. He says if we're not growing, then we're shrinking, so we've got to be growing. And I'm the one that comes along dragging her feet. If it were up to me, we may still be very small, but I'm really thankful for the way the business has grown.
Elizabeth, tell me, what do you think Jason is exceptionally good at in this business?
He can fix anything. which is absolutely necessary and wonderful for all the equipment that we have. Jason's also really good with people and being able to talk with people, especially when something may not have been up to their specifications, and being able to share with them and being able to fix things. Just being able to make connections. One of the things that really impressed me was in many businesses, it's very competitive. It's just, you're trying to get the best price, you're trying to get things over on other places. Jason really has worked hard to have partnerships with our area print shops. And that probably was best illustrated several years ago. We had a job we had to get out before Christmas. We were closing for Christmas. Our machines had broken down. Jason and I had spent nights at the shop just to try to get this order out. And we were up to the deadline. And Jason called his friends at different print shops, and they worked through the night. And the day we closed down, they came with all the printing that we hadn't been able to accomplish. And they're like, "Merry Christmas." I just remember the gentleman unloading boxes at our shop and realizing that it is a partnership. And when you help people to get what they want and you help other people to succeed, kindness always comes back.
Jason, same question to you. What do you think Elizabeth is really good at?
She's good at a lot of things. She can multitask amazingly well. She also has very good people skills. And, over the years, now that she primarily works from home, it always amazes me how many customers still come in and ask about Elizabeth, wanting to know, where is Elizabeth at, or how is she doing? But people really always enjoyed working with her, and her ability to lay out jobs and design jobs. We have several magazines that we do, and she does an amazing job with the layout and design. That has been really good.
How do you make important business decisions? Many couples have difficulty, especially when it comes to more bigger decisions, and there seems to be a lot of backwards and forwards. How do you do it?
Well, Elizabeth mentioned it a little bit earlier that, I tend to be the one that kind of pushes a little more on the cutting edge. I like to have, the good equipment. I want to be, as best positioned as we can be. But, Elizabeth might be a little more conservative, but we balance each other out. And she's, she always says, "Oh, if that looks good, if you're,
Jason's willing to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really thankful for that, because I am not as willing to take risks. But both of us being homeschooled and coming from a work ethic that we'll just work harder, we'll just work longer, we'll make sure that it happens, we'll make sure that it works. Kind of like when we went to full-time people, we had 2 people that had interviewed for the position, and we found that we liked qualities from both of them, and both of them needed a job. And so instead of just hiring one, we hired 2. We're like, we're going to take the chance, and the business grew. And I think it's just, we don't fight. We talk about decisions, and we live with the consequences of them.
We complement each other well.
Tell me something. What would surprise people about running a printing company?
The amount of work that goes into running a printing company can be daunting. Almost every job has a deadline. And most jobs, the deadline is a hard deadline because they have an event that's going to happen. They have a schedule that they have to meet. And so we have to get that product out and to the person on time, regardless of what may come up. And especially as the larger you get, the responsibility that you feel in running a business and keeping not only the customers happy, but also, making sure all your employees are not overworked, but keep them in good spirits and everything as well.
How's the business changed over the years? It's a big question, I know, but how would you say, how has it changed?
Well, over the last 10 years, I guess especially, we have grown a lot. We've gone from just a couple of employees to about 20 employees, and so that has been a big change for us. We've expanded our footprint. We've added a lot more equipment, a lot more another building, but we're very thankful for the way that we can service not only the community but a lot of different ministries. We've been able to partner with a lot of different people to really feel like we have an impact.
Elizabeth, running a business like this, and running a family at the same time takes a lot of balance. Because I believe it's not only the business that has grown, but the family has also grown. So how do you balance both?
That is an everyday careful balance, and I don't say that I always balance it well, but yes, before we had children, I was here full time, and we didn't have any full-time employees. We had young people who would come from church and apprentice with us, or some people would come in for a few weeks if we were busy. But after 9 years of marriage, Jason and I were blessed with a son, and about 3 months before we had Nathaniel, we decided to hire our first full-time employees. And I still remember, got done with 34 hours of labor, and I'm in the hospital bed answering emails about different print jobs. So the work-life balance, when you own your own business, it is your life. And we've worked hard to make sure that we take time for Nathaniel and now our son Andrew as well. I'm blessed to be able to be home with them. I do work from home a significant amount of the time, but just to be there for those special moments has been really rewarding. And the boys have become part of the business. They're excited about, well, we're going to grow up and we're going to take over, and Andrew's going to do this, Nathaniel says, and I'm going to do this part. And so I'm thankful that it's not something that they resent. It's something that they're excited about. Almost every day they ask if they can come into work with Jason. And sometimes when there's handwork that they can accomplish and not be too much in the way, they do come in.
Tell me, an interesting question, I think that is on the mind of every person, as they listen to your story, is what kept you going during those difficult years? Right when you start out, there's always that period. What kept you going?
Yeah, I guess I always had the mentality that I wanted to work for myself, and there was some tough times. I remember early on one time I worked 20 hours a day straight for 2 weeks, and it was brutal, but you just keep on going, you keep pushing, because the alternative is failure. So you just keep going, and I'm thankful I don't have to do that anymore. Hopefully I won't have to do that again, but at least for me, I've enjoyed the journey. I've enjoyed being able to build a business. About what would you say?
No, I've enjoyed being part of the journey and coming in where we still had a lot of growing to do, but Jason did have established customers and established business, and just being able to work with him to make that grow into something really special.
Tell me, you've mentioned that you've had many customers for quite a number of years. So tell me, what kept the customers coming back to Barnes Printing?
Well, I would hope that it would be because of our quality, our turnaround time, our pricing, but I think also we build a relationship with our customers, and over the years we have, our customers have really become our friends in a lot of ways. I remember one story that it comes to mind is, early on when I first started building this building in 2006. A guy came in the door, and he was walking around, and I'm in there working. I'm still working on building the building. He's walking around. He's just kind of looking around. So I came over. I said, "Can I help you?" And he said, "No, I'm just looking around." He said, "I'm trying to figure out what this building can be after the printing business fails." And I just started chuckling. I thought, well, we'll see. And but anyways, that was in 2006. Well, to this day, he is still one of my customers, and I would consider him a friend. Yeah, it was just it's just kind of funny though how that worked.
And I think it really is about the relationship and working with people and getting to know them. And when you fulfill a deadline, somebody comes in and they've got to have something printed that day. They're doing a program where something else has fallen through. It builds trust and it builds a relationship. They come in, they need a copy, you make a copy. Oh, let me pay. No, just have your copy, please. And I think that really being a part of the community, you have a young person that comes in selling chocolate bars and you're going to buy some. You have a person that needs you to print signs for their golf tournament and you're going to print them and become a sponsor. Really investing in your community. Even if it's a very small job, people know people, and we've really benefited by building a solid reputation of we love our community and we love our customers.
What does excellent customer service mean to you guys?
Trying to figure out how we can best help that particular person. I've had people that are so easy. I make a business card and they love it and we print it and it's done and they're very thankful. I've had people that are incredibly picky and I've done multiple proofs, and I take it as a challenge because each person has a vision in their mind of what they want and how they want things done. And if I can figure out that key to making them satisfied, you can gain a customer for life, and really thankful for that.
What kind of atmosphere did you and Jason want to create in this business?
We really wanted to create a family, really, a business where our employees and the customers can feel that they're not just a number, they're not just another job, that's been one of our goals, and I hope we've achieved that.
Jason and I love what we do. And we're really blessed with an amazing team of employees that we want them all to love it. Like, I know every job isn't fun and there's lots of jobs that can be boring, but to really love what you do and have a passion for quality and for excellence. And similarly with our customers, we love our customers and we want to be a part of their life and celebrate those moments, those weddings and those graduations and those other achievements, be able to celebrate them with them by providing quality printing that really sets off their events.
The printing industry has changed much over the years since you started printing operation or this business. It's evolved tremendously. And a lot of it has gone online as such, and tell me, how do you compete in a atmosphere where so many big businesses are now online? You can go online and you can have something printed online. How do you differentiate and how do you stay in business and competitive in this environment?
I think there's a few ways. One is once again is that personal touch. You're not going to get a personal touch with the big online retailers. Your job is going to be printed and sent out, and if there's something wrong with it, that's on you. I think that's one way, but another way is we can also be very more customized. If you have a job that needs die cut, some special coating, something that something out of the ordinary, then we can do that. We're not cookie cutter, where a lot of the online places are going to be, if it doesn't fit in this box, then they can't do it. And so there's a few areas where we've been able to really, I think, excel over the big online retailers.
How do you ensure that customers get exactly what they expect?
You want to answer that one?
We start out with a proofing process that if they send us camera ready files, we're going to send those back and make sure that they look good and they're just the way that they expected them to be. If we're designing it, I've done 20 or 30 proofs occasionally for customers to make sure it's just exactly the font and the spacing and everything what they want. Then we have an amazing team from our press operator, from our bindery manager, from the different people that work in departments. We have a robust quality control system that also helps to double check and triple check. And we are human. So if something does get through all of those different checks, we're willing to work with our customers and make sure that if they receive the final product and it didn't come up to what they were expecting, we're willing to work with you and make sure that you are satisfied with what you've gotten from Barnes Printing.
What accomplishments are you most proud of?
I don't know, I'm drawing a blank. That can be edited out.
I think the business accomplishments that I'm most proud of is being able to provide a good atmosphere for our employees, benefits, and a really just a family for our employees, and be able to give work to be able to share and give work to so many different people. I'm really glad to be part of the Denton community. It makes me incredibly happy when someone comes in and needs an invitation or something for a local event, that we can work with them, that we can sponsor, that we can be a part. People's trust is gold. And I think that would, business-wise, that would be the accomplishment that I would feel most excited about, is being able to build a business built on integrity so that people can trust what they get and who Barnes Printing is.
What legacy do you hope your family leaves in this community through this business?
Well, I hope that the legacy that we could leave behind would be that we were honest, we were, we produced a good product, but we were also personable and friendly and genuine.
Yes, if people need something, they know, oh, remember Barnes Printing. I hope it's never remember. I hope our boys continue it and it continues to grow and to flourish. But the legacy that I would want to leave is, yes, like you, that we worked with integrity, that we had people's best interest in mind. I think of that verse in Psalms 15 that talks about how you swear to your own hurt, but you don't change, because your moral compass is, we're going to be honest, whether we make money or lose money. And I'm thankful for the blessing of making money. But ultimately, the legacy was that we are honest and that we love God.
Has there ever been a customer whose life you were able to change through running this operation?
So one exciting story came from just a few years ago. We went to a trade show and passed out a book called Meditations on the Life of Christ. And it was just a compilation of different short, important messages about Christ's life and his love for people. We were giving them out as a sample of what we could print. And a customer came back to the next trade show the next year and said that she had read the book, she had been blessed by the book, and then she took the book and gave it to her mechanic and said, I really like this book, you might like it. He just put it in his drawer, didn't think about it, until he was in a really hard spot. And he opened that drawer and he read that book. And he said that it changed his course of action in his life. And when you find out that something that you shared had that sort of an impact, it makes it all worthwhile.
If someone has never worked with Barnes Printing before, what would you want them to know about this company? Not about the product so much, but about the people behind this company.
We will work for you 100%, 110%, 120%. We will absolutely make sure that you are satisfied. Give us a chance and you won't be disappointed. We will make sure of that.